Good afternoon. This is JJ Meyer at the Rock Healthcare. I feel pretty happy and healthy and strong right now, but you know what the number one ailment I see with especially women? It's fatigue. Does this sound like you? Overwhelming fatigue. You wake up tired, you go to bed tired. That's the common denominator I see with this. But there's not one size fits all. That's kind of what I found with fatigue is that it's amazing how many women have this. And, it could be causes such as heavy metals build up in the body, or it could be infections or toxins or hormone imbalance or stress or combination of two or three of these. Or it could be maybe reactive foods or really a sick gut. So you guys, you go to the doctor and he says, man, you got a lot of hats. You guys are busy. And I can see why you're stressed. I'm going to give you something for that stress. So we give an SSRI or something, neurotransmitting altering drug. Or another common denominator is people that are fatigued have pain. There's pain in the neck and shoulders or in the low back, different areas of the body, which is real common. And we see that with fatigue. In fact, a common ailment in America is a condition called chronic fatigue syndrome. And chronic fatigue syndrome doesn't have a differential diagnosis that can be given by a lab test, and which is kind of frustrating. You're fatigued and you really don't know why. And it's just a vicious cycle, isn't it? So how do we determine it? And how do we overcome that if you have fatigue? And do you agree that that's a common problem? So it could be maybe it's not diagnosed. Fatigue to me is a symptom. Again, we don't treat the symptom. We don't cover it up. It's something we don't give antacids because your gut's aching. Because we found out last week that neurotransmitters are actually made by bacteria in the gut, whether it's serotonin, dopamine, or if it's a GABA, something that makes us happy and gives us a reward system. We cannot change that by man-made drugs because our body produces those. So by doing that, it's not going to be regulated. Because one day, if your body is actually starting to heal and the gut's getting healthy where these transmitters are made, it's going to alter that. I'm just using that as an example. So there's safe and effective ways to determine whether or not some of these areas are having a problem. So we can take serum, like an order of blood, where we can determine whether you got infections. There's multiple infections going on with chronic fatigue syndrome, for example. There could be a combination of viral bacteria together that are cycling, or we throw in candida, which is a common infection that a lot of people don't realize that it contributes to a lot of ailments. So it could be a combination of all three, or it could be toxic load buildup. There's really cool testing we can do, like a comprehensive digestive stool analysis, which will actually check the condition of the gut, which is 85% of our immune system is in our gut itself. So we can see if there's yeast in there, or if there's no formation of certain acids like butyric acid, or maybe there is parasites or inflammatory condition that will show up with different markers. It's really exciting to see that. And there's ways of helping that naturally, food-wise, supplement-wise, without giving drugs. We don't want to, just as an example with that, we don't want to restrict acid produced in the stomach. 9 out of 10 of you people taking omeprazole and some of the other drugs for soppers to help prevent GERD. GERD is a common ailment that a lot of times is just because the cardiac valve of the stomach is opened up because we don't have enough acid in the stomach to trigger the pancreas and the liver to secrete enzymes. The flap doesn't shut all the way. The regurgitation comes back up through the esophagus and it really hurts. So what do? We take something to zap that. And that's wrong because then it ends up in a cycle. you inhibit the absorption of B vitamins in the stomach with less acid, and you're taking something to take more acid out of the stomach. Your memory, your short-term memory is going to be affected within 6 weeks. I'm just using this example. So there's ways of detecting if there's problems wrong with that. Hormone-wise, if there's a hormone imbalance with you women, same way there. It's pretty tough to regulate hormones by taking hormones. It's better if the body produces them, which it does a really good job. We don't want to restrict cholesterol, for example, which is a base hormone. Cholesterol is a hormone where a lot of hormones are made from. If we restrict cholesterol, then a lot of hormones are they're clear out of balance. And by taking statins, for example, controls the number, gets the cholesterol down number-wise, but it doesn't help the problem. The problem with high cholesterol normally is two things: genetic, diet, maybe three things. Diet, and also when we have a genetic problem or a diet problem and a metabolism problem, our body, the liver is overloaded. It's usually toxic too. So we have a combination of things going on. So the blood is a good baseline. We can look for infections and organs that are laying down, get some good indicators. Digestive stool analysis is really good. Check out the gut. And also hormones and urine are the best ways of detecting hormone imbalance would be by a saliva test. So yeah, just some food for thought. To overcome fatigue can be a frustrating thing, but to me, it's a real challenge to put together a plan, a change in diet, up in some moderate exercise, which just what you don't feel like doing is exercising when you're fatigued. But it's amazing when you start gradually. And another big contributor to fatigue is dehydration. Women, you guys need about 80 ounces now a day, and guys 120. And that's a lot of water to start out with. But after 2 weeks, another big reason for fatigue is adrenal fatigue, which is part of our hormone system. Our adrenals get blown, and that's 70 to 80% of the fluid balance in our body is regulated by the adrenals. Isn't it a wonder that adrenal fatigue, high cortisol, we're going to be tired? So with dehydration, it contributes to that. So up the water. Just a little tip there. And sleep, lack of sleep. People that are fatigued have a hard time sleeping a lot of times. You guys wake up a lot of times between 2 and 4 in the morning. Between 2 and 4 in the morning are the times when adrenal fatigue will show up, cortisol spikes, about that time starts to go up, wakes you up, and then you can't get back to sleep. Or the liver is toxic. That's the classic between 2 and 4 in the morning is liver toxicity. And what happens then, the liver's toxic, it's an angry organ. You know, the basal temperature of our liver is almost 10 degrees hotter than the temperature of our body. Isn't that amazing? Just to think that. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Victoria. Good to see you guys checking in. It's fun to talk about this because, you know, the liver, none of us can live without a liver. It's only got 500 functions a day. So I said it's an angry organ. If your liver is toxic, people will virtually be angry. You'll wonder why. You'll just, it isn't always things that you think would set them off. It will make you angry. We never give it a rest in America. We have no intermittent fasting. We have no fasting at all. We think we got to eat 3 meals a day. We don't. And if you need help with that, give me a shout here. That's what I do. I can give you some really great intermittent fasting diets, or we can go there with you to find out exactly why you're having fatigue. We need to find out the big why, isn't it? That's what functional nutrition and medicine is all about. The allopathic method has failed, guys. We got to quit treating symptoms, virtually killing us. We need to find out which foods to eat, when to eat them, why to eat them, when not to eat different foods. I can go there to help you with that. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to message me. Give us a shout here. I'm at the Rock Healthcare. Google that. We're on Google now, finally. So, we're having fun doing some cool stuff. The holistic methylation we're doing actually is clearing pathways genetically by taking proper nutrition, and we're seeing detox, happen quicker. We're seeing blood pressures. We're seeing cholesterol go down. We're seeing some pain go away really quick. It's just some cool stuff. Yeah. So yeah, if you got anything you'd like to visit about, even right now, any comments for you guys, I'll be glad to answer any questions. But other than that, yeah, tune in and I try to do these as often as I can. But this is a fun one. Fatigue is a common ailment. And you women, I feel for you because you outnumber the guys with this. But there's a lot of things we can do, and there's a lot of things that we are doing right now that are aggravating this. So up the water, try to get some rest, try to taper off those medications you're taking to sleep. Try 5-HTP if you have to, which is 5-hydroxytryptophan. It converts to melatonin. Even people that think melatonin is safe, it's not good to be on regular melatonin. 3 milligram at the most occasionally is okay, but not nightly. And even a little magnesium citrate, doesn't take a lot, or glycinate is good source to help relax you and help you sleep about an hour before you go to bed. Just some tips there. But yeah, try to visit with somebody like me that knows a little bit about some of the stuff we're talking about, because we can't shotgun this. It's not a one size fits all. All you guys are different. So yeah, thank you, and thanks for joining me today, and have a great rest of the week.